Christy, wow.
Hi, Tom.
Howdy. Dang, that is a thick door. Let me just put my backpack here in the cab. Wait, where's the closet?
There is no closet.
Okay.
But you can put it on the floor.
I'll just put it here for now.
Yeah.
Let's check out the living room.
Come on in.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Tiles on the floor. Nice open space. Lots of light.
All this light, I think, it's going to be pretty hot in the summertime.
Actually, in Germany, it's getting pretty warm.
It's warm, isn't it? Where's the AC? Where's the AC? Let me turn that up. Is this the AC?
No, that's the heating system. You can
What?
adjust the heating.
Where's the air conditioner?
I'm afraid to say there is no air conditioning in German houses. You won't find them.
You don't have air conditioning in Germany? Let's go in the kitchen and make a sandwich.
It's over there.
Okay. Is this the kitchen?
Yes, it's supposed to be the kitchen.
Okay.
Why are you looking so strange?
I'm looking for the refrigerator. Is it invisible?
No, there is no.
There's no fridge.
No,
And where's the sink?
there is no kitchen sink.
And where are the cupboards?
There are no cupboards either.
Are you trying to tell me German houses or apartments don't come with kitchens?
It's exactly what I wanted to point out.
Oh my gosh. Well, let me at least turn the light on one time. That didn't work.
I'm afraid there is no light.
What? German houses don't come with lights?
No, you have to buy them yourself.
Well, what happens if I have to pee? Do German houses come with toilets?
Yes, they do!
All right. Hello and Grüß Gott and welcome back to my channel. I am Tom, an American guy living in Germany. Today we're going to talk about top 10 pros and cons of German housing. Now, if you are new here, please make sure to plop that subscribe button down there to not miss any future videos like this one. Okay, just a bit of backstory. Upon graduating from college here in Germany, I moved into an apartment and I was flabbergasted at everything that was missing. There's so many things that we had to buy that normally would have come with an apartment or a house in America. And the first thing that I'm going to talk about are the big things that are missing. In my opinion, the most used room in the house is the kitchen. And you won't believe this, but in Germany, the houses and apartments don't come with kitchens. Can you believe that? I couldn't. Luckily, at our first place, we had a really nice landlord. He had an extra kitchen in the basement, so we went and got that and installed it. He even helped us do that. We were very grateful for that. That saved us quite a bit of money because a kitchen can cost as much as a new car. You're talking about anywhere between 5,000 and 20,000 euros just for a kitchen. The next big thing that's missing from German housing or German apartments are closets. In America, closets are built in. They are simply built into the floor plan. There's an extra part of the wall that's cut off and doors are installed, and that is a closet. Just slide the door open and you've got a ton of space to put your clothes, to put your boxes, and anything else that you want to store. But in Germany, they don't have built-in closets. That means that you have to go to IKEA or to your other local furniture store and buy a closet. They can be very expensive. And in my opinion, they are not as effective either as the built-in closets because they still don't have quite as much space. There's a lack of small things as well. It's not just the kitchen and closet. Most apartments and houses don't come with lamps either. You have to install lamps on the ceiling, in the hallways, in the kitchen, in the bedrooms, in the basement. You have to install lamps everywhere. If you're lucky, you may have just one single light bulb hanging from the ceiling, but for the most part, you have to buy all your own lamps. Okay, maybe I can understand this. Everybody's got their own taste in lamps. Maybe everybody would like to buy their own, but it really adds up to a lot of money. And in American housing, the lamps are just there. And if you're lucky, you'll even get a ceiling fan with a lamp which is also nice, especially in the summertime when it's hot. The second small thing that is missing from German houses and apartments are curtains. I can't remember if American houses come with these or not, but curtains can cost you hundreds of dollars just for each window. That's crazy. When we first moved into our apartment together, my wife and I, she wanted to get curtains. And I said, okay, let's go take a look. I couldn't believe how expensive they were, just for some fabric. Point number 3, stuff that's missing from German housing are the lack of comfort features. And what I'm talking about are on the windows, for example, there are no screens. Can you believe that? These are beautiful houses that are built here, and the windows are really nice, but don't come with screens. So that means that anything from the outside can come in if the window's open. Come on in, flies. Come on in, mosquitoes. Come on in, bees. Let's have an insect party. And the second comfort feature that's missing from German housing is air conditioning. So I made a video about the lack of air conditioning in Germany, and I can kind of understand it. Electricity costs a ton of money here. It's like 3 times as expensive as in America. There, the kilowatt hour costs 13 cents, and here it costs 39 US cents. So it's literally 3 times more expensive. It probably just would cost too much money to run air conditioning. Plus, in America, we have vents that go underneath the house to each room from the central air conditioning and the central heater. And that way you can distribute the cold air. In Germany, they don't have any vents, so it wouldn't really work anyway. Okay, I'm just about done talking about the cons of the housing in Germany, and soon we're going to get to the good points. The fourth thing is that because it's so densely populated in Germany, you have very tiny mini garages, and you have really small yards in many parts of Germany. Have you ever heard that expression, Handtuchgarten? That means that the yard is so small that you could cover it with a beach towel. Now, maybe that's a bit of a hyperbole statement, but there are some yards that are really just that tiny. That is the reason it took us so long to go in between our first apartment and the second house that we just got kicked out of, because we always wanted space. The first house luckily had space outside, and the second one did too. And our third rental house that we're moving into luckily also has a yard. But many people do not share this luxury, and that is a shame. Now, if you live somewhere out in the boonies in Germany, like in the sticks, sure, you got more space, but you don't have as many jobs there. And getting back to the garages, they're so narrow and slim that you can just barely fit the car inside. You can't open up the doors all the way. You have to just kind of open it up halfway and kind of squeeze out. You can't let everybody get out at the same time. What I do is have everybody get out of the car, then drive it into the garage, open up my door halfway and squeeze out. There's no more space than that. And that is kind of annoying. You can forget about 2-car garages like you have in America. We've already talked about a lot of cons about German housing, and now it's time to talk about the positive. And there's a lot positive about German houses and how they're built. And my favorite thing about German housing is it is built very, very robust. I mean, super robust. The walls are generally about 40 centimeters thick. They are made generally from brick, like cinder block, or 40 centimeter thick wooden walls. So, I mean, that is just really excellent for the strength of the house and also for insulation. The reason that they need to build the houses so robustly has also to do with the roof. They put these like terracotta clay kind of shingles on top. They're super heavy, and because of that you need a strong roof construction and a strong static of the house. In fact, I think that the German roofs, they've got to be 10 times stronger than an American roof, because if you look at the rafters that we have in America, they're like this thick and they just abut to each other like this. It looks like a dollhouse. And in Germany, they're like this thick. To wrap up, German houses are just strong, they're robust, and I appreciate that. Point number 2, which is really cool about German houses, is a lot of them have floor heating. So you walk on tile floors or wooden floors, and for the most part, I think it's really an advantage to have this floor heating, especially in the winter time. You can walk around in your socks and your feet don't get cold. Talking about floor heating, did you know that most Germans, all of the ones I know, don't wear shoes in the house? I know that a good number of Americans do wear shoes in the house, and in Germany they don't. So since they're taking their shoes off, floor heating is really excellent in the winter time so that their feet don't get cold. Okay, the third point that I really appreciate about German houses, and I touched on this just before, are the roofs, and in particular a Sichtdachstuhl. And what that is like an open roof where you can see all the rafters, you can see all the wood in general that's needed for the roof, and it just looks super duper pretty. I'm a fan of wood, and these roofs can just really be beautiful. Also, the advantage of these Sichtdachstühls is you have a lot of space up, so for a taller guy like me, it's nice to just have all this space upwards, like 3 or 4 meters. Awesome. And who needs an attic anyway? All you do is put stuff up in your attic and forget about it. So I would much prefer to have the space upwards with a Sichtdachstuhl. Okay, kind of touching back on a point of the quality of the German housing, the windows are super high quality. They are generally triple paned, which helps keep out the noise from the street and also keeps the house much better insulated in the summer and the winter time. And they don't feel like they're gonna break when you open them. These suckers are really strong. When I open up the windows in America on those plastic tracks, the newer type windows are all on plastic. I think, ooh, I better be careful that I don't break it. Don't have to worry about that in Germany. This reminds me about something that Germans do. They, before a meeting at work and after a meeting at work, they will open all the windows in the room and Stoßlüften, which means to let in fresh air into the room. And also my wife does that in the mornings after waking up, and in the evenings before going to bed, she'll open up all the windows in all the bedrooms to let fresh air in. I've never seen this in the States. Do people do that in America? We never did, and maybe it's because it's climate controlled with air conditioning or with heat, but it could also just be that people don't think about airing out their house, and they do in Germany. I have to give Germany some real good praise for their energy efficient construction. I touched on this also in my video about no air conditioning in Germany, and the fact that instead of having air conditioning, the Germans just build much more efficiently. If a normal house takes a certain amount of energy, they will actually government subsidize a house that takes only 55% of that energy or 40% of that energy with a government subsidy up to 18,000 euros. If you build a house according to these standards, they're called KfW 55 or KfW 40, you will get 18,000 euros upon completion of construction for each domicile. And I think that's awesome. I'm really delighted that the government is pushing high efficiency dwellings. It's good for the environment. It's good for your pocketbook that you don't have to pay as much for energy. And it just makes sense. Why not build better? I haven't seen much of a difference in the construction of houses in America in the last 50 years, and I wonder when that's going to change. All right, point number 6 that I think is really cool about German housing is how innovative they are too with heating systems. So in really old houses, actually you'll see a wood heater, a wood stove, and people will actually still heat with wood. Okay, that's unusual at this point, but it still does happen. Then the next technology is the oil heating. You've got these huge oil tanks and an oil heater that will heat up the house. The third thing that has come about recently is a pellet heating system. So you just take these little tiny pellets, which are normally actually discarded from construction. And they press these pieces of wood into little pellets, and then you can heat with that. So that's really efficient use of this extra wood material. And the government subsidizes these pellets as well. The fourth type of heating, it's called a Luftwärmepumpe, an air warmth pump. What it does is it's a big kind of device that sits outside. It looks like an air conditioner. And what it does is it pulls all the warmth out of the air and pumps it into the house. Now these are really inefficient in the wintertime when it gets too cold, but it's still an interesting technology. And the last one that I want to mention is the geothermal pump. So what they'll do is they will drill way down into the earth and they will actually do a heat exchange with the temperature down there and pump that into the house. How that exactly works, I don't know yet, but I plan to research it in the future. Whatever the case, the last three that I mentioned, the pellets, the Luftwärmepumpe, and the geothermal heat pump, those are really cool things, new technologies that I think are very interesting, and I would like to see something like this hit America as well. Hey guys, as a little bonus, I want to show you what our new kitchen looks like. Come, let's take a look. Here we've got a little microwave. They're not that big in Germany. Here we've got a little stove. You'll notice the turkey is hardly going to fit in there, but it's a nice stove. We've got a dishwasher and a sink. Here we've got these cool cabinets that open up. Then we've got here our oven that we cook on. No gas, unfortunately, in our town, so we can't cook with gas. Finally, we do have, ta-da, an American fridge. I am so delighted about this fridge. Usually, Germans will have fridges that are built in, kind of like this. You see how this microwave and stove are built in here? Or this right here, this dishwasher is built right in. They will have fridges built in like that too, and they're way smaller. So this big honker, that's my baby. Can get ice out of here, can get water out of here. The kids have so much fun using this fridge. That's gonna do it for today. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I say Pfiat euch and ciao.